We can. We're getting to the end of what's considered home buying season. Not quite there, but we're getting there. Our real estate guru, Mitch Rochelle, joins me now. Mitch, how do we make, and this has been a big question, how do we make home ownership possible for the next generation? Because it hasn't been that way.
I don't think it's been that way for the last generation, to be honest with you. Home prices are alarmingly high today. But literally, pull a tape of me and you talking about this 15 years ago, right? I probably said the same thing then. Wages and salaries aren't keeping pace with the cost of homes. And we had this crazy period of low interest rates, which inflated the bubble even worse. So I personally don't think what's happening right now is a bad thing. Sure, if you're a
lot of people don't take that at face value also. I stopped buying homes to rent back in 2021, 22, and 23. That's the only reason. I mistakenly got into buying land and building houses because I was patient. And the bag chasers, the earlier bag chasers back then, you can remember. And I said, listen, I'm not buying anything right now. And the reason that is the thing that accelerated home prices, and this is what people ain't adding into the conversation, is during the Biden administration, what happened was, in order to try to make sure that they stimulated the economy, this is what happened during the Biden administration, all right? You had an extreme on one side and an extreme on the other side. It wasn't any balance whatsoever. So the extreme on one side is because they wanted to make sure that money was still flowing in the United States of America. What they did was, they made sure that they kept and reduced interest rates to historic lows. Now, what did that do? It basically accelerated the home buying process, but in the process, it also made or created an inflationary home pricing market. So, and I say this all the time, people were buying homes at a crazy, crazy rate. They were refinancing, they were buying homes, but they were buying homes at $150,000 over asking. Let me see if I can find one of them. People were lined up during the pandemic. To try to buy a home. They were asking for insane amounts of money, and they were asking $150,000 over asking. And oh, this is my dog, Orlando Minor. I'm gonna use Orlando Minor's video. All right, it's my dog Orlando Minor's video from 4 years ago, and this from 4 years ago. Look at the title of this. First-time home buyer spends $200,000 over asking price. This was a video from 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Okay. So they were buying homes at a crazy number. If y'all want to point back to, because everybody got this revisionist history, right? Everybody got this revisionist history of what really happened because they only focus on what's happening right now, and they're not focusing on what happened back then that created the environment. And when you say, oh man, home prices is off the hook, when Kamala Harris came out and she said, oh, we're going to build 3 million new homes. First of all, the government can't build 3 million new homes. We're going to build 3 million new homes in order to try to ease it. But they didn't actually tell you that they were the ones that created the buying frenzy that then caused people to refinance at crazy rates and to be causing these $200,000 over asking prices for homes. The competition was fierce back then. He talked about it. The housing stock, the competition, investments, don't overpay, money, all of this stuff. And shout out to Orlando Minor. People was doing this without even having, they were doing it without having any inspection or anything like that. And so that was one of the things that created this bubble or created this space where people can't afford homes anymore because they were paying an incredible amount of money in order just to be able to try to get into a home because everybody was working from home. I told people, I said, listen, don't move far away from home. They moved further out. They moved away an hour, 2 hours away from their job because, I'm working from home from now. I remember everybody saying, we never going back into the office. We ain't never going, this has changed everything. I said, man, please don't do this. Please don't make a permanent decision off of a temporary situation. I know somebody right now that's struggling because they took the buyout offer because their job was here in Michigan and they decided that they wanted to move to Florida. They uprooted their entire life and moved to Florida. And then eventually the job that they was working for was like, we doing buyout offers or you got to come back into the office. They took the buyout offer. They can't find a job right now and they struggle. They took the buyout offer because they thought that they would never be going back into the office. And then they thought that they would be working from home forever. I've been warning y'all. I've been trying to tell y'all. I've been trying to put y'all in a position of power and be in a situation. I know I called it. I've been calling everything. Everything I speak about, I give you at least the 4-year view. I say, all right, listen, I told you we're going to revisit this. People was over there going house poor because they was getting a low interest rate. They was paying $200,000 over asking price and all of this stuff. They were asking 200 and people were paying it with no inspection. They went house poor. They had a lot of maintenance issues. And the people that was the sellers, they was like, we can go ahead and take advantage of it. That's how everybody was selling their houses over in California because they had low interest rates because the Biden administration was still trying to keep things in motion. They was trying to keep the money circulating, right? And so they was basically incentivizing people and they incentivized the banks by keeping the rates low. What they did was after that, they realized once the banks did all the refinancing, they had record profits. What did the Biden administration do? They raised interest rates. What did raising interest rates do? It created the situation where you never had the home market. The price of the homes never went down, but the interest rates went up because it was the only way that they can try to tamp down inflation because inflation was at over 10%, 12% in some places. Officially, it was at 9%. So they pulled the rug from under y'all. They made you buy a house for over $200,000 asking, and then they raised up the interest rates to prevent you from being able to buy a home. So now the people that's trying to buy the home today is dealing with a double whammy because the prices is going to stay the same because nobody wants to lose out. Why is the market able to still sustain itself? Because in a situation like this, in most instances, it would create a bubble. In most instances, it would create a bubble. The only reason that we don't have a bubble here in the United States of America is because people don't want to move. They're trapped in their homes when they would usually move and sell their home to keep money circulating, but they trapped in their homes because they don't want to give up their interest rate. So they unwilling to sell their homes or they just want to leave the homes on the market. They're not going to give up the home because they got too much equity into it. But they house poor and they stuck in a house. So now every other decision that's happening around you, you're losing your job. You got to try to find a job in your market. You got to give it up. You got to take the buyout. You got to do all of this stuff. Now you stuck. Your house has become your anchor. And I'm not talking about preventing, making it sure that you stay stability. I'm talking about holding you back from doing the things that you want to do. Your house has now become your anchor. Because every decision that you make is around the fact that you looked at this house as an investment instead of looking at your life and then moving according to whatever it is that was best for your long-term career. Your house, you looked at it as an investment, but you can't imagine how much money you're probably losing as a result of having to stay there. You can't get the job you want. You can't move. You stuck. Why? because you don't want to give up the interest rate, because you refinanced or you bought your home, even though you paid $200,000 over asking in 2021 and 2022. Your house is keeping you poor. So now people are waiting for one of two things: for interest rates to go down, which would make it more affordable so that you can get out of your home. That's number one. Or for earnings to go up so that you can justify making a purchase that you're not supposed to make. What do I tell y'all inside of the Patreon that I stay in? That sweet spot. I tell you to stay in that sweet spot, right? It's a price range that I keep my homes at, that I buy them at, so that it makes it more available to more people if I ever decided that I needed to sell it or pull equity out of the home. It's a price range, but more people felt like because they had a lower interest rate that they can buy more home. Now your home got you stuck, because the value of your home is not necessarily what the market bears, it's what you perceive it to be. It's based off of what you paid, and you don't want to lose no money based off of the purchase price of your home. So you got to live in it for the next 10 to 15 years, and even to be able to even justify the cost of it. Meanwhile, your property taxes is going up. Your property taxes is going up. And you can't pull no money out of it either. Because if you pull money out of it, then that means that you got to refinance. You got to refinance, and you got to refinance at a bigger rate. Even people that say, well, I could pull the equity out of my home, not for the new rates, because you're not going to keep the same rate that you had. So you stuck. You stuck. You stuck. And this is the part that they can't talk about. This is the part that people can't have a conversation about. This is why I boom whenever I open up my coaching calls, because I force you to look at everything, even the things that you don't want to see. You say, oh, well, your realtor's job is to sell you a home, not educate you. I'm the education. I'm the person that's going to give you the tools that allow for you to make a smarter decision, no matter what part of your life you're talking about. Their job is to make sure that they get a commission and make sure that they sell you the home. I'll tell you all of the factors because I've seen this shit before. I've seen it in 07, 08, 09. I've seen it in 14 of what was coming in. I've seen what happened when they raised the interest rates, and that's why, or they lowered the interest rates, and that's why I paused the buying. I've seen how it was playing out when they was paying $150,000, $200,000 over interest. Yeah, I could have jumped in the same way as everybody else and still been doing the same thing. But guess what? A wise decision, patience, everything is cyclical. Everything comes back around, and it's going to make itself available to you. Every single time. And so now they're trying to sell you, well, the interest rates are better than any time ever. But the price of the homes is not coming down because the price they paid for it at the time that the interest rates was at its lowest was too high. They paid too high. And so now it's not really a market correction because nobody want to actually get rid of the home that they paid that low interest rate in. And as long as they have to pay the bank, then they're going to try to keep that home as long as possible because they can't afford to pay off the mortgage.
Realtor and you want to sell homes because that's how you make a living, things
Yeah.
are bad. If you're a home builder and you're not selling as many homes, that's not a good thing, although home building stocks say otherwise. But I think the real challenge is trying to get the prices right for people's level of income.
And for first-time home buyers who have just been priced out, we got to do something about that.
Yeah, we need more supply of housing. I mean, we need, in my view, we need fiscal policy.
So now, instead of because it's plenty of homes for sale. It was plenty of homes for sale when Kamala Harris was saying that we need to build more houses. What they're trying to do, which is a mistake, it is the biggest mistake. It is the biggest mistake that we can make. What they're trying to do is saying that we need to build more homes so that we can price them at a point where people can buy them at the interest rates that we want to put on them. We don't. We don't. We don't need to build more. There's plenty of homes that's for sale right now. What we need is to make sure that there's a market correction that I don't know. I shouldn't even be saying this. The value of the homes based off of what y'all trying to sell them for is not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Y'all got these old homes, they tow up, they cookie cutter. You bought it because a new builder built it. It was all toe up. It had no insulation. The foundation wasn't right. The driveway is cracking. The roof is already needing to be redone. Listen, I ain't gonna talk about this right now. I got Block Club. Stock Club is either today or tomorrow, depending on how much work that I can get done before the Q show or before after hours tomorrow. And then Block Club is next week. The reason why Block Club is gonna be next week is because you know me. I show the receipts. I'm gonna show y'all what I picked up. If I pick up anything at the right price at the auction that I'm going to. When I get back home, I'm going to an auction, a property tax auction. And I'm gonna pick up some stuff, and I'm gonna show y'all exactly how much I paid for it, what the long-term play is, how we gonna generate revenue from it. And y'all listen, don't send me no emails asking me to start a fund. I'm not starting no fund. I don't want to use nobody else's money. I'm not interested in crowdsourcing. We not doing the Jay Morrison over here. And even though I'm above board and I would take care of business, I don't want to be responsible for nobody else's money. I'm gonna just show you the receipts of what I'm doing, and then we're gonna go from there. But I'm gonna show y'all all of the plays on real estate, what the long-term investments are. But I'm gonna also tell you why I'm gonna compete. I'm gonna compete, and why I'm gonna beat every single person in the marketplace, and why I'm buying up my whole city. But we'll go from there in a minute.
That creates incentives for builders to build, take more risk, buy more land, build more homes. Yeah. That will drive the prices down.
Very good. All right, next one for you. A new report claims that more than 50% of homes sold in May went for less than their asking price. A typical close came in about $5,000 lower than the original listing. Is that a trend that continues, that prices are coming down?
Actual prices of closed transactions are going up.
Oh,
the difference between asking price and closing price is sort of deteriorating because there has been this major push for people to put their houses on the market. They're getting bombarded. I can't tell you how many phone calls I get about my home in Florida from realtors. List your home, list your home. I have no plans to list it.
Cap. I don't care if this is Fox News business, whatever. Cap. Nigga, what's happening in Florida is exactly how I predicted it was going to happen in Florida. And I told you, I said, don't invest in Florida. Don't buy homes in Florida. Don't do this in Florida. You're capping. He's capping. Nobody is calling him and asking him to put his house on the market in Florida. Boy, homes prices are plummeting. People been sitting on the market in Florida for a long time. And I told y'all that it was going to happen. I told you that this was going to happen. Nobody is asking him to put his house on the market in Florida. Nobody should have bought a home or a condo in Florida. It was one of the worst decisions that you can possibly make. Do not. Well, it's too late now at this point because y'all already didn't caught y'all L's. I warned you. Nobody is calling him to tell him to put your house on the market in Florida. Nobody.
Realtors, as I said earlier, in order to make a living, need listings. So they're convincing people to list their homes. And the way they get that listing, I'm sure I'll get hate mail for this, but the way they get the listing is to convince people that they could sell it for X. And then they have it on the market. The price sits there. And they end up lowering the price. If they are legitimate sellers, they end up lowering the price to sell it.
So the question is a buyer's or seller's market?
It's absolutely a buyer's market.
Okay.
Absolutely a buyer's market. The power has shifted. But when I was on last week or the week before, and existing home sales came out, the price ticked up again to a new all-time high of home prices.
Mortgage rates, which are critical to all of this discussion, just fell to the lowest level since last October. That has got to help, if nothing else, just to refinance.
Yes, and that is the thing that needs to break this logjam. There's so many people on the sidelines that are would-be buyers that aren't jumping in because they say, and I hear it from them all the time, I'm going to wait for rates to come down. And I say, if you really need the house because you want to get the house to get your kids into school for the school season, buy the house. You can refinance in 9 months. The problem is the cost of financing a home with title costs and points and all that makes refinancing not as attractive as it used to be.
It takes a while to recoup the costs that it took to refinance, right? And that's a big consideration.